How are you doing, buddy?
Pretty good.
Say, I just wanted to let you know that we got everything set for the 50th reunion, and for Thursday night and Friday night, and we got a ride over there. Maybe 6:30. Maybe we go over to Woody's for a little bit, have some beer and stuff, and then cruise over to the first one is down at the Radisson, and then that's Thursday night. Friday night is out at the country club right over here, so it's real close. They pick you up at 6:30 at Woody's or here, whatever happens, and they said that they would only be able to bring us back at 10. But I think you want to stay until maybe 11 or 12.
Well, I would think.
Yeah, last time I think you went home a little bit earlier, but that's okay. I'm trying to get them. I'm using Caravan, but I'm trying to get the place now to give us a later start time. Bob. Anyway,
Yes.
I'm trying to get him to do that. So anyway, that's pretty much set, Kenny. And so let me, a long time ago, you and I have been, I don't know, ever since I went to China, we've been looking at the ideas of throwing the I Ching, right? For a long time. Can you remember that? Can you describe that?
Well, I don't know enough about the I Ching, except that it's Chinese way of telling the future or telling fortunes.
Well, yeah, but the tarot cards is how would you describe the tarot cards then?
Well, the tarot cards is probably a way to look in the future and what to watch out for. What's good for you and what's bad. Either way, you just kind of look at them that way.
For it. Okay. So I think that's pretty much the way I would look at the I Ching, and I know that you've been interested in tarot cards, and I've been interested in the I Ching, and I think they're both trying to divine in some sense the future, and I know that in some aspects they even looked at this as a backward-looking thing to help you understand the past. Do you see that in the tarot cards also?
Well, depending upon what you're asking, the definition, I don't know if that's a word even.
Use, yeah. Well, in the past, and I think this is true about the tarot cards too, although I haven't, studied it as much as you have, but is that in the past it used to be somewhat like a fortune teller thing, but now it's really changed into something that when you ask a question and you get the reading, it requires the asker to interpret what it is and to respond in some way. So you've got to take actions on what is happening in the reading of the cards or the throwing of the coins. So can you? But I think there are two different kinds of interesting books, and I know there's a lot of books on tarot, but this is the one, and I'll just hold it up for you. This one is Jung and Tarot, and Archetypal Journey, and it's by Sally Nichols. And I first got this one, Ken, and I first read it in August 25th, 93, which I don't know where I got it from, but I think maybe in Hong Kong. And of course, I was just back in Hong Kong for some time. But I think you and I have been looking at, this is the book, Carl Jung, and of course the tarot cards, and how those two work together was something I think you and I have done for a long time. Can you remember when I first asked you to throw the tarot cards for me?
It was a long time ago.
Must have been probably maybe in the 80s. Because that was when, remember when I was coming back from China all the time? You were living on 9th Street, north in Fargo, and we had to stop over there. I would maybe back for a month, and we'd get together every day and, have a beer and smoke a little bit and relax, if you remember. And I remember you, and coming to you with several different questions, and we'd throw the cards, we'd look at it, and we would analyze them. And we even did that up here a couple of times, trying to look at different questions. And I do have some audio tapes of us actually doing that. And so that was, part of the thing. But you and I had talked about asking the question several times, I think, and a question then asked the tarot cards. Here's the cards. This is, of course, that book. And the tarot cards, and at the same time ask, I suppose, the cards and the coins are the same sort of idea. But what I was thinking is that, we talked about that, I think, a number of times, and might we try to do it now? Ask a question, or query into something, and then see what the cards say, and then do the same thing with the I Ching and see what the I Ching says. And so how do you, Ken, ask a person, like if I was to come in to you as a person that had an interest, how would you, or in your own case, have you thrown this much to answer questions for your own self?
Certainly. We've done it.
Huh?
Since I've started reading the cards.
Okay, let me ask that question again. What is, have you thrown this, have you thrown the cards, have you asked the cards a question often in your past?
Well, yeah. I'd like to throw the cards, as you see.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say read the cards.
Read the cards, yeah.
As I read the cards, occasionally I write it down.
You write it down. Oh, well, I think that's really.
So I can look back.
Yeah. Well, in some sense, what you're saying, it's like, a journal, keeping track of your journal and keeping track of your dreams. I've done the same thing, Ken, with the I Ching and asking the I Ching, questions, throughout the years, and recording what is there. And in fact, I recorded. I'd have to go look at it. Actually, when we finished laying out the cards one time, I memorized them, and then, well, I don't know if I memorized them, but I wrote them down, so that I had that. And I'll have to go back and look at that because I think I still have that sequence of readings, but I have it on tape, I know. Well, Ken, I think that what I'm thinking about here is that we talked about this, I think, several months ago when I was up here about asking the question. I have one in mind, but have you got anyone in mind that might interface with both of us? I know we both have, let's say, personal issues that we might want to ask, some guidance on. But can you think of something that we had talked about that might be a similar sort of question that would be of interest to you and me? Do you remember talking about that before in the past?
Well, I should, but I don't.
Well, you remember Bill Barney, one of our teachers? Does that trigger anything that we talked about? What I think you and I talked about sometime. It was some time ago. That we talked about, and with the reunion coming up, I remember that I think it was at the 20th high school reunion, which was in, or was it 30th? No, it might have been the 30th. I'll have to double check on that. But it was at one of those, and it was at the Holiday Inn. So, but a lot of them have been at the Holiday Inn. It was either 20th or the 30th, and I think it was the 20th. I'm pretty sure it was the 20th. Now that I think of it, because Bobby V was at the 30th, and then I don't think it occurred at that one. I think it was at the 20th. Anyway, I remember on a Friday night. That's when we had the social in the beginning, and Bill Barney was there, and there was geez, I was right on the left side of Bill, like I am on side of you, and there was a lot of, I was really close to him, and there's a lot of other people just, talking around him. I don't remember if you were there or not, but I remember Barney saying to the group here is that the class of '62 that he had was, I forget the exact word that he used. One of the most, I use the word creative, that pops into my mind, but one of the most interesting, or one of the most dynamic, or, kinds of classes that he's ever had at Central. I mean, I just remember some kind of a comment that...
Super potential.
Yeah, super potential, some aspect of it that grabbed him. And of course, he was the history teacher and the high school, wrestling coach. And so...